This video is made possible by the following sponsors. Make sure to check out their products as well as the rest of my gear in the description below.
Hey guys, Tofu Boy here, and welcome back to Assetto Corsa for another video. Yes, we are back at the Nordschleife for another episode of our Hot Lap Challenge, and you guys asked for more production cars, more road cars, and I couldn't think of a more iconic road car than this, the Toyota AE86. Now I think it's fair to say that a lot of the fame of this car comes from Initial D. Now in the anime, this car can pretty much beat any car it goes up against, it seems so anyway. But in real life, it's not quite the same story. The stock Toyota AE86, which is what I'm going to be driving today, produces only 122 brake horsepower from an inline 4 engine. And the reason why I give you the exact number of horsepower is because we're going to need every one around here today. Power though isn't really the strength of this thing. The car only weighs 950 kilograms, meaning that it handles surprisingly well for what it is, which is a family hatchback from the 80s. This car also has really close gearing. I think fifth gear is somewhere around 125 miles per hour before you run into the limiter. And we really need that in this car, given that this has a low-powered, naturally aspirated engine. We want to be as high in the RPM as long as possible, so having short gears makes it so we can do that more, means we go faster. But anyway guys, let's go load our Tofu into the back of the car and see just how fast Takumi's Toyota AE86 can lap the Nordschleife. Here we are then, inside our glorious Tofu wagon, the Toyota AE86. As I said in the intro, this thing has only 120 brake horsepower, so straight line speed really isn't our strength. We have to try and get this thing through the corners as quick as possible, keep as much momentum as possible if we have any hope of doing any kind of decent lap time. My goal is to try and lap in under 10 minutes, because if Sabine can do it in a Transit, I should be able to do it in a Colt Icon. But anyway, let's get our lap underway, and you can probably already hear this car sounds like it's on throttle bodies, which the stock version isn't, but I'm not complaining, it makes a great noise. So, getting ready for our lap here at the Nordschleife. All about momentum this, so I've got to try and be as neat and tidy as possible and make sure I'm nailing my shifts to make sure everything is perfect. That's how you drive this car. Anyway then, down the second gear, at the barrier, on the power, and time to start our lap, all the way up to 7,000 RPM, maybe 7.5 before shifting, coming over the rise, down the second gear, neat and tidy on the way in, trying to slide it on the curb, don't want to do that. Now downhill, gravity is a big help for us in this car. We need all the help we can get. Through hats and back, and try and keep it flat, get nice and close to the curb. Front end starts to push a little bit, but we've got room to go out there, so we keep it going. Now for our first big braking zone on the brakes. Down the third gear, try and keep it straight and tidy. There you go, front end was a little bit hesitant to turn in there, but we managed it. Now we can really hit the curves in this thing. The advantage of it being a road car is it isn't going to hit the curb and die, so we can just run them over as much as we like. Keeping it in third gear through here, just using my left foot to brake. Run over this curb there, and now nice clean exit. Oh, the diff there taking over a bit, but up to fourth gear. Everything happens very slowly in this car, but getting it right is still a big challenge. We finally get over 100 miles per hour as we now come up to the flue plats over the crest. Just touch off the throttle to turn in, get the car moving a bit at the rear. There you go, very nice. Then we hold fourth until we go over this rise here. We've got a bit of an uphill, and then as soon as we get to the crest of it, up to fifth gear, and then use the downhill to get up to speed again. You have to think about all of these things here. Gearing is just perfect around here. We're just touching 200 kilometers an hour there. Pretty much top of fifth gear. Again, dab of the brakes just to get the car turning with four-wheel sliding through there, very slight one, and then heavy on the brakes, down to this long right-hander. There you go, very nice. It's all about being soft and smooth. It might not look like the fastest thing in the world, but this is one of the cars that I drive in my own time. Just gets really fun to try and get lap time out of it. There's a whole different kind of driving to driving something with 1 million horsepower and downforce. Now up to the top of the hill, gonna hit the brakes, take fourth over the crest. Take third gear early, get the car tucked into the right here, back on the power, straight line braking, down to second gear, then turn it in. Softly. There you go, we can get the power really early there, because there isn't really much power to get on, so the car doesn't move too much, so we can get on the power as early as we like. Pay our respects as we always do to the Rebel Tree. Hello, Rebel Tree. Still hello, Rebel Tree. Still hello. Goodbye, Rebel Tree. It took a long time to get past it. Again, fourth gear, brush of the brake. A little bit wide there. I didn't get turned in early enough. We didn't really lose that much speed. And then down to third gear. The goal is not to have too much aggressive weight transfer in this car. It doesn't like it. It will start sliding, and whilst of course this car is known for its drifting prowess and initial D, we want to try and avoid that as much as we can around here, because that's not fast. As much as it looks very cool. A little bit of slide through here. Now we come to miss hit miss on the brakes. There's a hit on the power there. You can hear the car struggling for the traction through there. We're only on road tyres, remember. Oh, a little bit skew whiff into their rear end, got a bit loose, but it actually helped us turn in the end. Over the curb, and then we take third gear. Still a lot of fun to drive this thing. Again, not the fastest car in the world, but who cares really. Third gear down here, we have to wait for the front tyres to bite. There you go, now we got the power. Keep it in third up here, trying to keep as much speed as possible. We don't want to have to go down to second gear. Bit wide there, luckily a bit of curve there to help bring us back into the circuit. Now again, wait for the downhill and up to fourth. Now we've got a very, very long uphill section coming up here. It is just fourth gear, so we've got a chance to chill out a bit, but one more corner before we get to that. Going down the third, just trying to turn it a little bit on the brake, then on the power as soon as I can be. Not the neatest through there, but it will do. And now the bane of the 86, the uphill. Again, only 120 horsepower this. I think a lot of people idolise this car, myself included. It's a fantastic car to start with as a base for a tuner car or for a race car, but on its own, it's not that fast. It really isn't. Weighs about, as I said in the intro, about 950 kilos, so fairly light, but unfortunately there's only so much lightness can do to make up for a lack of power. Up the hill, still up the hill, we're still on this section. We can go flat for this left-hander, so it's got to be brave. I say be brave, just turn the wheel right out to the outside and then trying to scrub the tyres as little as possible. You can hear how the scrubbing of the tyres there just takes speed away, which is our enemy. Again, as small an input into the steering as we can. Now get ready for braking. We brake just before we start going downhill. On the throttle a bit early there, and as a result, not too great for a shift into third. So we're going to take second for the Carousel, but not until we get into it. Actually, no, I'm going to keep third. No, second gear. The rear end starting to play about a bit. Diff on this car is not very nice. I'm fairly sure it's an open diff. It feels like it. You can hear or feel one tyre spinning every now and then, especially in situations like that where it's uneven. So we're fourth up here, but we're going to have to go down to third midway through this uphill. You see, there's fourth. Now we take third. Now we've got to get nice and tight and neat on the inside of this curb here. There's a little bit of camber. There it is, nice. Grabbed it nicely. Little gutter technique. Now fourth gear for this section. Again, this is all about being neat and tidy through here. Don't overdrive, let the car grip and then get on the power. Just like that. Get it sliding. In you go, nice. Third at the crest. Fourth again for a second, then back down to third. There you go. Just try not to overdrive it, doesn't like it. We'll hold third. Car moving around a bit through there, I was a little bit too aggressive. Again, hold third. Almost in the limiter. On the power, nice and early, there you go. Again, we'll hold third for this corner as well. Just use the uphill to slow us down a bit, turning nice and early on the power. There you go, rear end moved a little bit, but we're okay through there. Fourth gear. Wow, this is a lot of fun to drive, it just isn't very fast. Well, I'm going to try fourth for this section. I've usually been using third in practice, but I've scrubbed too much speed in third gear, I see. So we are at the bottom. Yeah, we are actually faster than going through there in third. Doesn't sound like it, but we are. You have to remember, this being an H pattern, a gear shift costs you a lot of time. We'll try and minimise those. Only do it if you really have to. into 5th gear. Nice short 5th gear, makes use of the rev range in this car. Just on the brakes, 4th gear again, get it in nice and early to the curb. And we'll take 3rd gear for this left-hander. I do want to braking very early and getting the power early. It's all about keeping that momentum, almost using the brakes as little as possible. The 3rd gear through here is so easy to spin the car if you're not careful, so I'm really soft for the power until I get out of the carousel. I've gone through there in 3rd full throttle and the car will loop. Now to 4th, and again we try and keep flat through here if we can. It's all about getting that line right though. If you get the line wrong, you're in that grass. Then nice and tight here, just so we can let the car make its way out to the exit. There you go, nice. Now we're onto the back straight. What's our time so far? 8:11. There's a good chance, in fact I'm fairly sure we're going to go under 10 minutes. By how much I'm not sure. Under 9 I don't think it's going to happen. We need to have a lot faster car to get to the end in this. 185k is going to try and hit that magic 200k's. 200k's for you America lads is probably about 125 miles per hour if I'm to estimate it, somewhere around there. Which isn't bad for something with 120 horsepower, but it isn't great either. Very slowly drive past everyone there. We'll get a bit of a boost as we go down the hill underneath the bridge. Gravity is best friend now, there you go. I've not actually practiced going into this last section at speed before, so we'll see how this works out. Down the 4th gear, sliding all the way in. 2nd gear, power so early. Don't want to take 3rd, but you kind of have to. Then down the 2nd one more time, at the wall. Power, 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 power. And it is a 9:13.831, so miles under the 10-minute goal I set myself. But of course, you're seeing, whilst this car is a hell of a lot of fun to drive, unfortunately not the fastest thing out there. There is of course a tuned version of this as well, but you guys wanted to see more road cars, so I thought this would be perfect for that. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed driving this thing. Again, it's not the fastest car out there, but the challenge of driving it fast, it's a lot of fun. I'd really recommend going and give it a go in AC if you have a Japanese car pack. This is in there, that and a Nordschleife, and about 2 hours of your time. Best 2 hours you can spend in one of these cars, in my opinion. Unless you have one in real life, of course, then screw you. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit subscribe to be notified of future videos and streams. Massive thank you to my patrons and to my sponsors. Take care, have an awesome day, see you all next time.